Russell Potter here, Motivo Academy. And in this video, we are going to talk about killer employee performance reviews with Punch and how to prepare for the performance review. This is the second video in this series. You should watch the first video if you haven't watched the first video on the types of performance employee reviews, a couple of cautionary aspects of it, and also the reasons why you kind of must do them. There are some very important reasons. But if you watched that video already, welcome to this one. Thank you for watching the next video in the series. Let's talk about how you prepare for the performance review, and we're going to do this in a countdown of steps in order of importance. Okay, number 5, this is optional for you if you're using 360-degree appraisal, which means there's multiple sources of inputs, is KPI data. KPI data, just for anyone that doesn't know what a KPI is, it stands for Key Performance Indicator. It's a leading indicator of future financial success. That's the definition of a KPI. We're not talking revenue here or profit. We're talking about the inputs into the process. So if you're a salesperson, for example, a KPI for you will be number of sales calls, the inputs into the process rather than revenue. Clearly, you're going to look at revenue as well. It's not to say you exclude that. But for the purposes of the performance appraisal, performance review, if you can have KPI data from the employees on the employee's performance, this is something you really want to bring in. Now, it's not always possible, which is why it's in at number 5 on this list. But essentially, KPIs are made by mapping the processes and systems that go into an output. So for example, for a business, the main systems and processes for a business would be a voice of customer usually first, so that's market research and what they think about the product. Then you might have product development and on the marketing side. Then you might have marketing itself. Then you might have sales as a process. The people actually go out and sell after the stuff's been marketed on billboards and TV and whatnot. Then you've got the salespeople, and then you've got operations stuff, so orders come in, and then you obviously make the product, and then you've got the finance and accounting side as well, the invoicing side. So they will be essentially the 6 main processes of any business. Now, in each of those processes, we need to measure the effectiveness of that process. So for example, for sales, we want to know whether it's working. And if we want to know whether it's working, we need to look at leading indicators of future financial success. So as I mentioned, number of sales calls would be the leading indicator of future financial success. The lagging indicator would, of course, be profit and revenue. Quite complicated, but if you're an entrepreneur, you would certainly want to set up key KPIs for each of the main systems and processes, and set up metrics for that. And if you are managing a team, your company has KPIs, then you'd certainly want to access them and bring them into the performance review. The benefit of that is KPIs are undisputable. There can be reasons for the poor performance. That's a different story. It's not to blame the employee for it. But you work together and ask the employee, this is the KPI. How would we improve this? I'll give you anything you want. How would you improve it? And I do that in workshops usually. So KPIs is something, if you can bring into a performance review, you would want to bring into a performance review. How to use it in a performance review, that's the next video on the step-by-step, what to say, how to say it in the performance review. But and number 5 on the list of the steps to prepare for a performance review, KPIs, I think, is something that you want to think about. Number 4 on the list in order of importance is absence data. Now, you should have absence data for each of your team members. So when they take a day off sick, for example, then you want to register what day it was, and obviously the day, but also what day it was as well. Now, I have a whole career of managing those kind of things, and you want to pick out basically, is it the same day that they're taking off? Is it a Friday and a Monday that they're taking off sick? A little bit suspicious there. Is it a one-off thing when they took 4 days and had a doctor's certificate? All that kind of stuff. So absence is something you want to bring in. You just want to put it on the performance review. In this period of 3 months, you had 5 days off for sickness, and then you want to just discuss that a little bit. Are you feeling okay now? How's things? This brings attention to the fact that it's being monitored. and you will find that anything that's monitored improves. This is true of KPIs when those KPIs are brought up with employees, but it's also true of absence as well. It's not to say there's never a good justification for absence, but you do want to let them know that it's being monitored, but also so you can pick up on any issues. So absence is something else you want to bring in. Lateness also. If lateness is an issue, you need to have documented that when it happens and then bring it up at the performance review. That is quite important. Okay, next on the list, number 3, if I'm not wrong, on the list is the job description itself. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of entrepreneurs, and I know a lot of viewers are entrepreneurs, and some small businesses, they don't have formal job descriptions for their employees. And actually, in a lot of businesses, they don't bring up that JD, job description, in the performance review very often. In all honesty, it just becomes about, how your performance was. That's a missed opportunity, frankly. And if you're an entrepreneur, you must have job descriptions for everybody in your team. I know you bring people in to be generalists and pull their weight and, wear many hats. That's all very well, and put that on the job description. But where people are not clear on their job, on what they're supposed to be doing, it stresses them out greatly. People don't deal with ambiguity well at all. I don't know anyone that deals with ambiguity well at all. So make sure you got a job description, and in the performance review, in the performance appraisal, this is your opportunity to bring up the job description. And certainly you want to do this before, so as you're preparing for the performance review, of course, you want to see what are the roles that the tasks and duties and responsibilities of this particular employee, and then how closely 1 to 10 have they actually done those things on that list. Are there things on that list that are important that haven't been done in the last 3 or 6 months or 12 months? Don't do annual performance reviews. Please do them maybe 6 months or 3 months, please. But is there anything that's not been done there? It's not to accuse the employee, but there might be issues there that mean that important things are not being done. It could be a capacity issue, there's not enough people, for example. It could be an expertise issue, they don't know how to do it. Whatever it might be. It could be outdated. It may actually have no use on the job description anymore. So when you bring up the job description, you want to look, make sure that all the duties that are on the job description that you're paying the employee for. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably not getting paid and you're probably paying the employees. And that can lead to a little bit of bitterness when you pay the payroll at the end of the month. I know that feeling. But essentially, you want to make sure that the job description is brought up as part of the preparation for the performance review, so you can see that everything's been done, and have a look at where there is redundancy in that performance review. Some things are more important than others, of course, but where there is maybe stuff that's not being done, it doesn't need to be done anymore. And maybe where there's things that you need to add in because you've got feedback from customers, you've got feedback from putting your product to market, you've got feedback on how your business strategy is working, your business model is working, and you need to readjust some of the roles. This is your time to do it. Do it formally. So part of the preparation is bring up the job description if you haven't already got one. It's also an opportunity, if they don't have a job description, to make a job description. And we can talk about that in another video, but and how you would do that. In fact, just for you, I will put a template for a job description at the Motivo Academy. You'll have to treasure hunt for it. I have no idea what the URL will be right now, but go over there and I'll put a template up for a JD. It's that important. So bring up the JD as part of your preparation for the performance review, step number 3 on the list. Okay, so number 2 in order of importance, of course, on the list is, of course, feedback on their performance. I mean, this is, what a lot of people are doing the performance reviews for. So you want to give, obviously, feedback on their performance. Now, again, Motivo Academy, go and treasure hunt over there. I will put down the main areas of performance that you want to monitor, but essentially, obviously, they're going to relate to the job performance in the job, some stuff about attitude as well. But you're going to want to get down your comments, and you want to get that down in a really structured way. You want to use evidence wherever you can. You want to balance off that feedback a little bit with positive comment, areas to improve, positive comment. the otherwise known as the bleep sandwich. But you want to get down those comments. You always want to end the comments with a positive. You want to leave them with their confidence intact and inspired to go out and do their best work. If you end with a negative comment or an area for improvement, that's the one that they're going to leave the room with. So you always want to structure it in that way. Good, area for improvement, how they're going to improve it, their commitment, and then something positive, because you want to get those comments. Now, if you are doing a 360-degree appraisal, you're also going to need to get feedback from other stakeholders. So other people in the company, it might be the finance director, it might be someone in supply chain management, it might even be a customer as well. Don't be afraid to reach out to your customers. It shows that you really take your business and service quality seriously to reach out to trusted customers, key accounts, to say, look, I'm just doing some performance reviews at the moment, confidentially, and your comments will be shared in the most delicate way. I'd like to know how the person that serves your account is doing. You know, what did they do well, what could they improve, and what can we do better for you as a company? So this is a good opportunity for you to do that. So you want to go out and get these comments. This is quite important. But what you also need to write down, of course, is your expectations. Once you've got all that information, your expectations on them for the next period. What are your expectations? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? What are specific goals and objectives that are going to need to be set for the next period to help you to achieve your business goals? Remember, dial back. You've got your vision and direction, the market that you're serving and the massive impact that it's going to make. You've got your systems and strategies as well. So how do those systems and strategies support that goal of serving that market? And then how do they fit in operating those systems and processes to make it all a success, complete alignment? So you're going to want to get down your expectations for that employee in the next 3, 6, 12 months. Even if you meet every 3 months, you should still be planning goals that are more distal, longer term. You can certainly put a 12-month goal on, and then over the course of the year, every 3 months, check their progress against that goal. We absolutely can certainly do that. So at this stage, you're now starting to get the comments in. Remember, you've already got the KPI data, maybe the absence data is in there already, some of the hard stuff, and now you're getting in, of course, your comments and the comments from stakeholders. If you're doing 360-degree appraisal, you're probably going to struggle to get in many sources of feedback. 2 is fine from trusted stakeholders internally. You should choose those people. It shouldn't be chosen by the employee. I know some systems use that, but they're only ever, of course, going to choose people who are going to give good comments. You want the truth and you want honesty. So, and they can be done anonymously as well, by the way. You don't have to share the exact comments. However, you want to go and get those comments, and as I say, customer feedback is really gold standard if you can get it, because ultimately the customer is the one that really matters. So that's number 2 on the list. Obviously, it's very important. But again, Motivo Academy, go and treasure hunt over there, find the resources, and you'll find a form that can support you with that. Okay, so it comes down to the most important thing on the list, and some people might debate and put your comments below if you feel I've got this in the wrong order, or if I've maybe missed something that you feel is more important. And it's very much a two-way process. But actually, the goals and objectives from the last appraisal is actually number 1 on the list, in my opinion. There's a few reasons for this. The first is that it covers off quite a lot of the accountability side, because if they said in the previous appraisal and it was agreed that it was important for the business to achieve a specific goal and objective, they committed to it, you said it was important, and they committed to it, it should be reasonable to expect that there will be accountability for doing their job. Now, what this does is it sets, 1, your authority, but secondly, it gets rid of any talk about, well, this was hard and that was hard and poor performance and this kind of stuff. the bottom line, especially if you're an entrepreneur, is results. The bottom line, if you own a business yourself, or if you're held accountable by your director or board member, if you're a new manager or a mid-level manager, or even a director, if you are held accountable by those above, results is what matters. How you got there is another thing, but they're going to look at results. And if you're an entrepreneur who has to pay the payroll at the end of the month whilst you're not getting paid, you want to make sure that you're getting results. So the how you get there, we tend to focus on a little bit too much, in my opinion. We tend to focus on the soft skills side of things a little bit too much, not focusing on the actual result that we get. And ultimately, the success of any business is based on the results, not how nice it was in getting that result. Now, clearly we want to build sustainable systems, great places to work, and happy people who reach beyond and add massive value over and above what we pay them to do. But the bottom line is results. So that's why it's number one on the list. Results are important and accountability is critical. So you've got to bring up in your preparation for the performance review the previously agreed objectives and goals that were agreed to. So that's number one on the list. Don't get that one wrong. Make sure it's documented. It shouldn't be a surprise if those goals haven't been missed, but that accountability step is business critical. I hope that helps to help you to prepare. It's probably quite a useful guide to help you prepare. Head over to the Motivo Academy. There's resources over there, some of the forms that you might find valuable, the best practice that I've used with some clients over the years that I can share with you. So go over there. But once again, I don't want you as an entrepreneur or a new leader or a manager of people to get bogged down with the minutiae of managing people. And a lot of people get a little obsessed with improving one poor performing employee, hard to say. The best way to manage a business is to create systems and processes that add massive value to the business and to the lives of customers. Remember, the vision and direction, how you're going to have massive impact to the lives of customers. Then you've got the systems and processes and strategy to achieve that end, and then the people that operate that. Systems and processes are absolutely critical, and performance reviews done regularly, on time, never missed, are one of the systems and processes that gets you there. It's going to give you transformative business success. So I don't want you to get bogged down in the how to do it and all that stuff. I want you to learn it, master it, and then move on so that you can be more creative. You can transform customers' lives. You can be creative and think about the product. You can think about improving the world as a great leader. I don't want you to get bogged down. So with that in mind, grab a course at the Motivo Academy. Learn everything you need to learn about being a leader and management. Get it done. 9 hours. Watch it. Get it done. Practice it. Done. Done. Out the way. You can then move on to the next level in your life. That's why we created those training courses at the Motivo Academy, because we help good people do great things. Like, subscribe. That goes without saying, because this stuff is free for you. There's a lot more coming. In the next video, we're going to talk about step by step what you say in the performance review meeting.